Good morning. Welcome to Nigeria Now on TOS Television Network. And as always, Nigeria Now is where I get to bring you headlines, across front pages of Nigerian dailies today. Today's Friday and there's a lot, across all these papers this morning. I'm just going to be looking at quite a number of them. My name is Adesewell C. Now let's move straight into the papers, starting with Vanguard newspaper. And I'm going to be starting with a very glaring headline. That's the banner headline of the Vanguard newspaper. And it says, Cocaine saga. NDLEA seeks court's order to extend Kyari's detention. Wants to verify his estates in Lagos and Abuja. PSC suspends two Kyari's men. Directs IGP to suspend two inspectors. Now he's supposed to stay in detention for 48 hours. But I think because of, the gravity of the case, they are going to have to maybe extend his stay in NDLEA's detention. Now, away from that, out-of-school children, a national problem. That's coming from the federal government, and it's on page 8. Wife kills husband with hot water in Ogun State. I'm tired of seeing this kind of news, in the country. It's on page 6, and then just beneath the picture of the day, false scarcity, federal government, marketers, others disagree. APC convention, confusion over zoning of party offices, governors divided. 2023, Southeast must produce next president. Igbo elders insist. Strike ASU slams minister for accusing it of dodging negotiation. On the top of the Vanguard newspaper, I was declared insane for exercising my rights. That's from an army officer. Why we are diversifying Nigeria's economy, that's from CBN Governor Emefiele, that's on page 12. Osun governorship fight, the die is cast for Oyetola and Aregbesola, that's on page 14. And the last headline of the Vanguard newspaper says Nigeria's economy grows 3.4%, strongest since 2014. And that one is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Away from the Vanguard to this day newspaper, the very first headline there says, at 3.40% in 2021, Nigeria's economy recorded highest GDP growth in 8 years. Non-oil board growth at 94.81%. Oil sector contributed 5.19%. That story is continued on page 9. Lawmakers hail federal government CBN seeks sustenance of 100 for 100 policy, and that one is on page 6. Report 22.1% of teachers in Borno State incompetent, untrainable. That is on page 5. And the banner headline on this day newspaper says 365 days to presidential election. The aspirants are emerging. And then pictures of some of those who have declared their intentions and some of those who are yet to declare their intentions but might be running for presidency. For the office of the president in 2023. Federal government moves to meet ASU's demand, constitute white paper committee. I'm looking forward to, the outcome of the meeting, the federal government and ASU. Away from that to the Punch newspaper, the very first headline there says NNPC shifts dirty fuel importation probe to National Assembly. You can find that one on page 13. Drug business, PSC orders fleeing ASP's arrest, suspends Kyari's associate. Customers kick over silent hike in electricity tariff amid fuel scarcity. This is a strike. Federal government interreligious council meet ASU next week. Aregbesola Oyetola's aide disagree as minister accuses governor of waging war. And to the banner headline on the Punch newspaper, it says PDP, federal government PDP clash as economy grows by 3.4%, highest in 7 years. So the PDP is saying this is the voodoo economics of Buhari. When you talk of economic growth, it must have a direct impact on the lives of the people. And then Lai Mohammed is saying we have an opposition that doesn't want to hear anything good about the country and this administration. So there's a back and forth with those ones. And then Kwara governor to head Osun APC primary committee. 4 friends torture 28-year-old to death over missing phone. Device found on chair. That's quite sad. Fish out Elijah fisherman's killer in Bayelsa, reps tell police. Cash transfer, some Nigerians haven't seen 5,000 naira before. That's coming from the minister. Ogun housewife baths starving husband with hot water, flees, victim dies. And the last headline there's a budget amendment in session based on Nigerians' demand. Reps reply Buhari. To the Nation newspaper, Balogun to mount Olubadan throne next month. That's on page 27. Reps for trial over certificates forgery on April 11th. That's on page 3. Abba Kyari, 2 police officers suspended. Appeal court ratifies Ganduje-backed APC exco. Those are also on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Underneath that one, federal Osun government alleges security threat to APC primary. Fake NSCDC prison service uniforms in circulation. Kwara governor leads shadow poll panel. Petrol scarcity to ease off from next week, says NNPC. GDP grew by 3.40% in quarter 4. That's on page 5 and on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. The banner headline says PDP governors Ghana Pali fails to break zoning deadlock. Don't divide us, says Wike. UK envoy, we have interest in 2023 elections. That's on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Away from the Nation to the Guardian newspaper this morning. Nigerians who had never seen 5,000 naira met government by finance minister. That's on page 3. Ganduje extends olive branch as court upturns ruling recognizing Shekarau's APC faction. That's on page 28. Arawa Group urges APC PDP to back Igbo presidential candidates. That's on page 29. Fletter Wave makes waves with $3 billion valuation. And that is on page 17. And the banner headline is on Osun Primary, Jagaban House of Commotion. That's continued on page 6. Wike denies traveling with PDP governors to Europe to select presidential candidates. That news is on page 27. And then there's the one on Abba Kyari in the eye of the storm. So read the big story on page 4 and 5. And then the last headline in the Guardian newspaper, real sector falters as GDP grows by 3.4%. That news can be found on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Moving away from the Guardian newspaper to the Nigerian Tribune, and this first headline is on Ikoyi building collapse. Consortium of professionals to scrutinize high-rise buildings. Building had poor workmanship. That's from the Standard Organization of Nigeria. 5 victims still unidentified for pathologists. 2.557 trillion naira fuel subsidy. Reps begin review of 2022 to 2024 NTEF. Set up technical committee to interface with NNPC on fuel subsidy. Constitution review reports to be laid next week. That's coming from Kalu, and that story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. The banner headline is on Abba Kyari. It says, Kyari Gate. Police Commission suspends 2 indicted officers. Directs IGP to suspend 2 others. You can find that one on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Kano APC crisis. Ganduje's faction wins at appeal court. Out-of-school children not only northern problem. That's coming from the federal government. Reps call for procurement of body-worn camera for police, army, customs, and others. Those stories are on page 46, page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. As Osun APC primaries hold tomorrow, Oyetola Aregbesola in test of will, police rally stakeholders on peaceful conduct. Those are on page 42 and page 46. High debt profile. Afenifere cautions federal government wants fair deal for North-South in project execution. Wonders why 3 northerners in a row head NPA. You can read up on that on page 4. 21 critical road projects, and NPC wades into crisis to review freight rate for transporters, and that's also on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And in front of the Daily Sun, terrorism court to shift venue of Kano's trial. That's coming from the Chief Justice, and that's on page 27. Rep seeks law to protect widows' rights, dignity. Heads roll in police over drug cartel scandal. PSC suspend Abba Kyari's men, Obua 2 others from service. Another banner headline says, fair hike as fuel scarcity persists. Black market hits 700 naira per litre. Will sleep at filling stations. Motorists lament. Ejigbo Ore Abba depot run out of stock. That's on page 2 and page 6 of the Daily Sun. NEC to encourage patronage of locally assembled vehicles. That's on page 7. Quite interesting. You might want to read up on that one. And on 2023 election, international community will watch Nigeria with keen interest. That's a British envoy saying that. Still on 2023 election, APC youth vow to stop old presidential aspirants. Arewa group drums support for Igbo presidency. Southeast stakeholders back Abba Kyari for national chairman. Ebubuago arrests 12-man Mkuru Miri syndicate in Neboi. That's quite interesting. Ataga, deceased body evacuated from pool of blood. Police court slams 100 million naira against police over murder. Kano APC, Ganduje wins as appeal court invalidates ward local government congresses. And the last headline for this morning says, ASU strike, UNN grounded as union ensures total compliance. 469 foreign doctors, dentists, fail MDCN professional exams. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Sun this morning. You might want to grab yourself a copy of this one and other papers, taking me fully abreast of what's happening in the country at the moment. Just read up on all of those stories. And if you cannot get those papers, just look at our website at www.tostvnetwork.com to read up on these stories and more. Also follow us across all social media platforms. It's TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. It's TOS TV Network. Thank you for joining me this morning. My name is Adesuwalsi, and please have a very, very interesting weekend.